Well, welcome back to the Critics Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun. I'm here with David Dunn with Southlake Style Magazine, Mr. Movie Aficionado and Film Lover. So, how are you doing today, David?
Doing great, man. I'm newly engaged. I'm officially getting married later this year. I'm still don't believe it, but it's fine. Everything's great. Um, Morbius just came out. Not related to my previous happiness. I'm just saying, as a matter of factual record, Morbius came out. So
Yeah, and we'll discuss that in another review. Yeah, that was an interesting movie. Uh, but we're not here to talk about a specific movie today. We are here to celebrate a career of a great actor who has touched the lives of countless people through his movies and just a pretty darn right good person. We're talking about Bruce Willis, and I hate to say it, but I'm sad to see him retiring from acting due to health conditions that he has, and I hope that he's able to overcome those and has a kind of a speedy recovery here.
yeah, I agree. It really stunk to hear the news that he had to retire from acting due to his vocal cords, which it feels like his recent Razzie nominations, it especially soured those, because this is a year where he not only got nominated for one Raspberry Award, but he had an entire category dedicated to him.
Well, they
And
rescinded that actually.
they rescinded that, and I was happy they did that,
Yeah,
but still, it still soured it nonetheless. And
yeah, it did hurt to. I thought that was a little mean to do that to one specific actor, not just him, because everybody can have a bomb.
yeah, but all that to say, dude has had an amazing career. Um, I am sad to see him retire, but obviously I want him to be well. But more than anything else, I hope he's doing okay. I hope he's living comfortably. You should be living comfortably, right? This is John McClane. He should not be suffering under any other circumstance aside from his health conditions. He should be well off.
No, I think he's got a lot of support going his way, and we definitely want to wish him the best.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we are gonna, with that in mind, we are gonna talk about three of our favorite Bruce Willis movies here, and I'm gonna have you go first. Why don't you start off with your third choice and go to number one here?
Yes, sir. So my third is probably going to surprise you. Uh, we've talked about it on the show before. It's an excellent action blockbuster, arguably one of the best. It definitely helped launch Bruce Willis's career in the stratosphere. That's right, is the 1988 action film Die Hard, which is not a Christmas movie. I've said that before on this channel. I will stay by it. It is not a Christmas movie. It is an action movie set during Christmas.
No,
Which
you're
is
still
very
wrong. You're still wrong on that, my friend. But I'll let you be wrong for this video as well.
we'll argue more about it whenever Die Hard comes around under your list. How about that? But I really do love Die Hard a lot, and I love John McClane's role in it, and I love Bruce Willis's performance in it. Die Hard, for one thing, is a great action movie with these amazing set pieces, a really great performance from Alan Rickman, really explosive set pieces, really claustrophobic feeling inside this building. It really does do a great job at rising the tension and stakes. And really, it's a film that I point to with a lot of other action blockbusters, because a lot of other films don't understand how to exercise tension and heightened emotions through their films, and Die Hard so obviously does. John McTiernan obviously did an amazing job with the film. But kind of speaking a little bit more to the character of John McClane is Bruce Willis. This is really just an ordinary street cop. He really doesn't have, he's not like an over-the-top action hero like Sylvester Stallone or Jean-Claude Van Damme. He really is just this normal Joe guy that got thrusted into this horrible situation with no shoes on. And that's what makes him so relatable. And Bruce Willis is so great in this role, is that he really is just kind of your everyday Joe kind of a character thrown in a ridiculous, over the top situation. And I think that's why the film works so well, is because it is the everyman kind of put into this perspective, a family man, a guy kind of going through a little bit of a difficult situation with his marriage to his wife. But yeah, it's a normal situation. It's a normal guy being thrust into a very life-threatening scenario, and he has to rise to the occasion. He has to use his wits and his training and everything at his arsenal and disposal. You know, yippee-ki-yay! You know, it's just a great, relatable performance, and Bruce Willis did a great job bringing so much believability to this role. In a movie that is otherwise really over the top and ridiculous and explosive in every way it can be. Bruce Willis' performance in this movie is pretty much, what if you took a normal guy and put him through these ridiculous stunts, right? It's like, what if you put me or you in that building, right? That's pretty much his performance, and that's why he's so great in the role, and why he brings so much credence to a lot of the movie's thrills and action. He makes it feel so immediate. And good golly, this is a film that put Bruce Willis on the map. I think it deserved it. It's a great movie, great performance, and it lives to this day.
I have nothing to disagree with you about. I love Die Hard. It's an amazing movie. The only fact that it is a Christmas movie, but you know, we're not going to get into that today because we're celebrating Bruce. And that's what we're here to do.
We're not going to get into that yet, you mean?
Not yet here. You want me to go with mine next?
Yeah, go for yours.
You're going to be surprised about this. My third choice here would be the 2006 movie 16 Blocks. With
what?
16 Blocks. You've never seen this movie? Bruce Willis plays basically an aging alcoholic cop who's basically he's not the most honest officer in the department, but he's assigned with escorting a witness from the police department to testify in court. The witness is played by Mos Def, and basically this witness has information about a bunch of other cops who did something illegal, and they're trying to prevent the witness from testifying, so they go after Bruce and Mos Def's character in it. And it's a very, very good movie. I've always really enjoyed it when it came out. And it's something a little bit different. I mean, you don't expect him to, it fits within his wheelhouse, but it's definitely a little bit different. I mean, shows a lot of compassion, and he kind of grows in his humanity, where at first he sees this is just, oh, this is something I have to do. This is part of the job. Then he gets to know, Mos Def's character in the movie, and just really has empathy for him and what he's going through. And he learns about his life and the plans he has for his life and what he wants to do, and how they both change each other in a really good way. And I really love this movie. It's a very underrated movie, and I think it got lost kind of in the shuffle.
That's awesome, man. Well, first of all, power to you for picking a movie that's so out of left field. I have never heard of 16 Blocks, let alone seen it.
Yeah, excellent. Mos Def is really good in it too.
I am surprised to see that it was directed by Richard Donner, which, for those of you that don't know, Richard Donner is the same guy who's done the Lethal Weapon movies and Superman with Christopher Reeve. So really experienced filmmaker, really great filmography under his belt. 16 Blocks is actually the last movie he ever released. So clearly I'm gonna have to check that out. That's a good one. Nice job, Andy. Nice one coming out of the wheelhouse for sure.
Well, thank you.
My number two pick, I've gone back and forth on whether or not this is number 2 or number 1. They're really kind of both equal in my mind. But number 2 does stand out to me, not just in Bruce Willis's filmography, but also in M. Night Shyamalan's filmography. No, I'm not talking about the 2000 superhero film Unbreakable, which, fun fact, Bruce Willis's character in that movie, his name is David Dunn. That'd be very easy for me to drop in there, but whatever. But no, the film I'm actually referring to is actually M. Night Shyamalan's 1999 hit. I'm do that over.
Wait. I had a cough there. I'm sorry.
Good. But no, the movie I'm actually referring to is actually M. Night Shyamalan's 1999 hit, The Sixth Sense, where Bruce Willis stars as a therapist named Malcolm Crowe. And here, Malcolm is assigned to, kind of treat this kid who believes he can see dead people, played wonderfully here by Haley Joel Osment. And for a guy who is really known for doing a lot of these like really over the top action movies, from Die Hard all the way to, the 8+ movies he's been nominated for at the Razzies. Sixth Sense is a really a vulnerable kind of performance from Bruce Willis. Definitely more personal, definitely a lot more serious. And what I love so much about his performance in this movie is that there's several sides to his character. On one hand, there's the therapist side of him that wants to help this kid, who sees this kid suffering. He feels for him. He empathizes with him. He wants to help him. But at the same time, committing himself to this job and to, this kid and trying to help him, he also becomes detracted from his own marriage to his estranged wife. And those are kind of the duality. That's kind of the duality he has to experience in the movie. He has to be a therapist in one scene and a distant husband in another. And he plays both roles so well in here. They're very relatable roles. They're very relatable characters.
And it's one of M. Night Shyamalan's best movies.
I would say it is his best. Absolutely. Yeah. With a twist that is just out of this world. Obviously, we're not going to say what the twist is here, but it is a twist ending that just makes your jaw drop. It perfectly makes sense to this character. And God, what a great movie. What a great performance. I know a lot of people make the joke of, Bruce Willis is just an action hero. He definitely isn't. And movies like this prove it. He has depth. He has acting ability outside of that. The Sixth Sense shows he can take on dramatic roles alongside more fun ones and do both a lot of justice. Like, I love this movie.
I totally agree with you. And fun fact, I believe this is Donnie Wahlberg's first movie that he's ever been in. He's in it for about 30 seconds. And right at the beginning, I'm not going to tell you who he is, but it's a very memorable role. And I agree with you. I love The Sixth Sense. It was probably the first thriller / horror movie I saw, and it still gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. It's just a great movie.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I mean,
it makes the necks on your hairs stick up, and whenever it hits you, the emotional punches, it hits them super, super hard. It's definitely some of Bruce Willis's finest work. It's definitely M. Night Shyamalan's best work, and it's a little sad to see how his career is kind of tanked after this movie came out. But that's another conversation for another time. We're here to celebrate Bruce Willis. We're here to celebrate his life and career. This movie and his performance in it is definitely a highlight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my second choice, and this is also going to surprise you again. It's a 2002 movie. It came out in 2002. It's called Heart's War. Basically, it tells the story of it's set during World War II in a POW camp in Nazi Germany. And the cast featured Bruce Willis. He plays the senior commanding POW. He plays a colonel. Colin Farrell plays Lieutenant Thomas Hart. Terrence Howard is in this movie as Lieutenant Lincoln Scott. It's just really an incredible movie. It basically centers on, it's a courtroom drama set in a POW camp essentially, and Colin Farrell's character, Lieutenant Hart, is a law student before the war, and a murder takes place in the camp where they have a couple of airmen who are Tuskegee Airmen, who were part of the first African American flying group in the Army Air Corps during World War II. They become captured. One of them gets murdered, and the other African American, played by Terrence Howard, is basically blamed for the murder. So they have basically a military trial to basically see if Howard's character did it or not. And Lieutenant Hart, since he has legal experience, it's up to him to defend Terrence Howard's character. And Bruce Willis sits as the judge sits on the panel and basically acts as the judge in this movie. And but there's a underlying thing that's going on that it makes a little bit more sense. The court case kind of acts as cover for something the POWs are doing at the time, and it's an amazing story. It has a lot of humanity in there. It talks about a lot of difficult issues. Race is definitely very prominent in this movie. It talks about people who are in a very difficult situation and what they're facing. And Bruce Willis's character, he's phenomenal in this, and he's a very authoritative figure, but he's also, I would say, to some point, understanding, and I really admire this movie.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's another under the radar pick I really haven't seen. But it does raise, you do raise an interesting point with this. Bruce Willis is one of those actors I think is like primed for the war picture, right? Like he could fit like a glove in Saving Private Ryan.
Well, he has that chiseled kind of rough outlook to him.
Exactly. And surprisingly, he hasn't starred in a whole lot of war movies.
No, not really.
I mean, obviously, you mentioned Heart's War. Tears of the Sun is the other big one I kind of think of. But yeah, not a whole lot of war movies. And you wonder, like, is it just something he doesn't like to do? Like, is there a particular reason why he's avoided the genre? Is there other project that spoke out more to him? I don't know, but he definitely has the acting chops for it. And yeah, I'm definitely going to add Heart's War with the rest of his filmography that I need to check out.
Yeah, it's been a favorite of mine for years. It's actually a film I got to go see with my dad. So it's definitely one of those movies that really sticks with you beyond the theater.
That's awesome, man. I love
it.
Cool. So my number one,
it's Terrence Howard before Hustle and Flow, before he really got big.
For sure. I love that. So my number one is actually going to be an interesting pick. I don't know if you'll see this one coming or if this will just be really weird for you. But my favorite Bruce Willis performance, movie, appearance, anything you want to relate to it, is actually the 1994 crime drama by Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it's interesting because out of all of the stories illustrated throughout this sprawling narrative between John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis's portion he gets the most screen time. And really, out of all of the threads in this story, I think you can argue that the longest one, or the most well laid out one, is the one relating to his character, which is Butch, this washed up boxer that doesn't, he screws over Marcellus Wallace, a gangster, and he has to go on a run. And, that's kind of the story. It's him getting out of town with his girlfriend. There's a watch in play. The hiding spot comes into play. I'm not disclosing where the hiding spot is. But no, everything about this sequence, man, is just very well written from Tarantino's perspective, very well directed and shot. The part where he's in that pawn shop, just going through weapons from like the bat to the chainsaw to the samurai sword, like it was a great cinematic moment. And Bruce Willis as well, like he's great in the scene. I know he's been built up as like this machismo tough guy from like Die Hard and all that, but Butch here has a lot of layers to him. He's obviously a husband, he's a boxer, he's a fighter. He's also a son. He's really, really attached to this watch his father gave when he was a little kid. He's on the run from a guy who's trying to kill him. But then later on throughout his sequence, he kind of has a change of heart. He kind of empathizes with another guy in his situation. He decides to step in and help him out. It's a really great arc. It's really well written. It's so damn clever. And yeah, aside from the scenes with Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta and just all the other scenes in this movie, Bruce's storyline in Pulp Fiction is among my favorites. And it really just kind of shows why Pulp Fiction is such a great work overall, because it has all these different characters and actors playing roles you normally don't see from them, and they knock it out of the park. I mean, I'm blown away personally. Bruce Willis wasn't nominated for supporting actor for this movie. I know John Travolta got it, but in my mind, honestly, I would have prioritized Bruce Willis over him a little bit, to be honest.
Oh, no, I agree. Well, I'm going to go into my number one. It's going to surprise you again. It's not Die Hard.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not Die Hard at all. I love Die Hard, and I do agree with you that Die Hard is basically the foundation to the modern action movie. There's a lot of things I love about Die Hard, but it's not my favorite Bruce Willis movie at all.
Okay, I'm surprised by that, but go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
very, very curious.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. It's the 1995 movie 12 Monkeys.
Okay, I can respect it. So
Yeah, I love that movie. It's basically a science fiction film directed by Terry Gilliam. Basically, it features Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, I believe Christopher Plummer's in it. Basically, its worldwide release has been just well received. It's basically talks about Bruce is a prisoner. He has to travel back in time to prevent a worldwide catastrophe, basically that happened in 1996. It takes place in the future in, I believe, 2035. And he's trying to find the cause of what basically destroyed humanity. Did I get it in a nutshell there, essentially?
in a nutshell, yeah, you did for sure. I've heard of 12 Monkeys before. I've always been really curious to watch it. I'm a big fan of Terry Gilliam's work. Have not had a chance to watch this just because, reasons.
Yeah, Brad Pitt in the movie, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in this, and it's just a great film. It's odd for what it is, but I like it personally. It's good. It's very engaging. Bruce does an amazing job with this character, and it's a quirky film. I really like it, and I believe they did a television series off of it a few years ago, maybe 2013, somewhere in there, and I thought it was okay. I think the movie is much better personally.
Yeah, I've always been super eager to watch it, and I definitely, I can imagine Bruce Willis being great in the role. But yeah, I think whether you're talking about Die Hard, 12 Monkeys, Pulp Fiction, or Hearts War, any of these movies, I mean, Bruce Willis is definitely a staple in the realm of Hollywood movie making,
Oh, definitely.
and you know, I'm sad he's retiring. I part of me hopes there's some miracle that happens, you know, down the line, like his asphyxia magically disappears or something, and he's able to hop back at it. But I don't know. First and foremost, I want him to be healthy and well off and all this stuff. And in the meantime, we can be grateful for all these amazing movies and performances he's given us. Like,
Oh,
what a
I totally agree. I mean, there was a bunch of other films that, you know, were probably a nice runner up. You know, I love Die Hard, the first one. I love the whole series of Die Hard movies, even the last one that wasn't so was okay.
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, that was okay.
You mean A Bad Day to Die Hard?
It was okay. It was okay. I
It was
wasn't
a very very bad day to Die Hard.
okay. Well, anyways, you know, some of the other ones I recommend, Surrogates, Sin City. He did a Disney film which was called The Kid, which was really good. Fifth Element, Armageddon, and Bandits he did with Billy Bob Thornton, just to name a few. Those are some of my favorites personally.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, I think that's going to do it for today's edition of the Critics Corner. So please check out our recommendations on everything Bruce, because he's awesome, and wish he was still going to be around acting and providing us with great cinema, but totally understand him prioritizing his health and stuff like that. So check out our recommendations, and we'll see you back here next week at the corner. So take care.
Take care, everybody.